What's going on? Welcome everybody to the second episode of The Art of Being an Artist. I'm here with Sarah. Do you want to go ahead and introduce yourself?
My name is Sarah. I'm 22 years old and I'm from Beirut, Lebanon. I'm a singer and a songwriter. I do have my own music, but I haven't really released it to the public just yet. I play a bit of guitar and a little bit of piano.
Is there any specific reason you haven't released any music yet?
Um, I just want to collect them all in a proper album,
Okay.
properly release them song by song when it's probably properly recorded in the studio. Because we're in lockdown right now, so I haven't really had access to like a studio to record them professionally, to be honest.
Right, right. And you do a lot of covers as well as create your own lyrics, correct? Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, right on. So tell me a bit about like the process going through your brain as you're actually singing. Like what is kind of going through your head?
Don't choke on your spit. It's something that um it's something that's actually really common. When a singer chokes on stage, she just chokes or he just chokes on his own spit. It's happened multiple times, no joke, honestly. But what's going through my mind is just the feel of the song. Um, just to make sure I hit when there's an upcoming high note, to prepare myself for that note because I gotta land that note. But really the feel of the song.
Well, speaking of preparation, what are some ways that you prepare for the day or for singing? Like, is there a certain routine that you go through?
Yeah, okay. So over here, I don't think I haven't really posted much of my performances apart from one on my Instagram, other than my highlights. But right before a performance, before I go on stage, where I live right now, which is Saudi Arabia, by the way, um, no sugar or chocolate or sweets, no spicy food, no sour food, nothing cold. Definitely no chocolate. I think I mentioned that. No food, no eating. 2 hours minimum before a performance. Um, Even hot tea or drinks. A lot of people think that you should be drinking tea or any. No, 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 nothing. Water. You know, room
Okay.
temperature. And I even sometimes stop chocolate or sugar a couple of days even before because it's not good whatsoever. It really affects your voice. And as soon as you arrive to where you're performing, most likely it's going to be a bit chilly because of the AC.
Mm.
I have a scarf on. It's Saudi Arabia, but I have a scarf around my neck. I learned this the hard way, because once you go in from the heat of Saudi straight into an AC room that's blasted AC with like 80 degrees, 18 degrees, you gotta wear a scarf. You look crazy, but you gotta wear a scarf.
Okay,
So,
right on. How do you like it in Saudi Arabia?
well, I'm Lebanese, but I was born and raised in Saudi, Jeddah. Um, Honestly, when I was younger, I found it really hard. Even though I was born here, I found it really hard to adapt, because it's very obvious of what life should be and what life normally shouldn't be. You know what I mean? You're living in a country that's segregated. But believe it or not, I went to university for 3 years, and then I came back, and everything's changed. Everything's different. It's almost like Dubai, apart from we have no, obviously you can't have alcohol in the country, it's forbidden, but it's almost like Dubai, honestly. It's interesting. Things are changing here. Things are opening up. For starters, female performers or even people performing music in the first place is such a huge thing. We've even had concerts here. I think we've had Mariah Carey. I think we've had as well. Who did we have? We had a lot of people come here to perform.
I mean, that to me, comes to my mind is how fortunate we are I live in Canada personally, but even people in the States to have the opportunity to perform. And it's like such a regular, natural thing here. We wouldn't even think of like it being a problem as over there. So that just like makes me even that much more appreciative.
You guys should be honest because we have over here, okay, yeah, things are opening up, but you don't see people really walking on the streets. For starters, the heat, that's a major thing. It can go up to 40 degrees Celsius over here. Yes.
Wow.
That's one thing. Second of all, our roads aren't really meant to be walked on. We don't really have parks or greenery. There is nature, but it's all highways. It's like you can't, like when you go to Dubai, for example. I personally haven't been there, but from friends who live there, at least there are some areas you can walk in. In Saudi, all highways. You don't have really sidewalks for people to walk in. You know, they haven't really come to that yet. We do have the Corniche, which is basically like the seaside walkway. That's what we call it, basically, where
Okay.
you can walk greenery. There's the sea. There's rails. It's interesting. It's beautiful. But as for walking to this local grocery store, we don't have any of that. You need a car here,
Wow. Yeah, it's crazy how different life is somewhere else.
and it's really different.
Yeah, geez. Even like I went to Barcelona just a few months ago, and the way of living over there is completely different. But I don't know. It feels like a whole new experience, and there's a whole big world out there to explore. Have you done much travel yourself?
I've traveled when I was younger with the family, like family vacations. Paris, London when I was younger, Egypt, Sharm el Sheikh. But anywhere else, I still have yet to explore. My parents have traveled a lot though, but I still haven't.
Okay, right on. Tell me about Egypt. How was that?
I went to Sharm el Sheikh. It's amazing. You want to have a good time at the beach, Sharm el Sheikh, honestly. You get the perfect tan and it's really fun, especially because they do speak English over there in this, they do speak English. So communication's pretty easy. Um, it's beautiful. The resorts there are great, honestly.
Oh, that's sick. That's sick. Okay, so going back to singing, actually, how has it affected other aspects of your life?
Confidence.
Hmm.
Confidence is one of the major things that developed because of my singing. I was never really a shy person, and I wasn't, but it did help me overcome being in the center of stage or attention. I used to love singing, but I was always afraid of being on stage, like a little bit of stage fright, which I'm sure every single person has um, passed through in their life. But now it's just like it makes me own the stage, like it really boosts your character as well, because when you're on stage singing and performing for like 2 hours in like a restaurant or a cafe over here, you can't just sing and not speak. You got to have a bit of stage presence. You got to
Hmm.
communicate with the crowd. You crack a joke here and there. You got to speak, show who you are within your stage presence. So it does help with that a lot.
Do you have any sort of like tactics or like some kind of mindset preparation for people who lack confidence singing?
I feel like you just have to believe in yourself. That's the very common thing that a lot of people have said, because it really is the only way around it. And time. Give yourself time. You can't expect to go on stage the first time and be confident about it. The best thing, we see them all the time on like X Factor, America's Got Talent. They have amazing voices, but they're shy and they're all like, and then you're like, whoa, so you can't expect yourself to be confident from day one or strong from day one. And you will have days, I have been booed off stage in high school talent shows growing up. You will have these moments even in real life. You will be performing on stage in a restaurant and people look so uninterested or be like but you have to push all of that aside and just remember why you love doing this and why you're doing this, and it will come with time. It really will, honestly.
Would you say that you learned more from being booed off stage than maybe if they would have not done that?
It made me stronger. It sounds so cliche, but it is true. It is the very common answer, because it is what it is. It does make you stronger. It does break you. I did come home and cry for a couple hours.
Must
I
have
was
been hard.
young.
Yeah.
It was. You're in front of a crowd of over 200 students.
And these are your peers too. These are people you see every day.
So it is embarrassing. It does break you a little, but you got to put yourself back together.
Well, that's like that's mad respect for you though. Like that's incredible that you had the guts to go up there and do that and to continue living your dream. Wow.
It's it's also nice because now they come. They were with me in high school. We're talking like grade 9 or grade 10, but I'm performing here in cafes and I bump into a few of them. They're like, "Oh my God, Sarah, you sound amazing." I'm like, "Yeah, you." In my head, I'm like, "Hey, you booed me off stage. Now you're saying, okay, thanks." It feels good.
I bet it does. It's like, look where I am now, push through, and wow,
Yeah.
that's absolutely amazing. That's incredible. Take me through the actual process of how would you like prepare yourself before you actually like go on stage? Do you take some deep breaths? Do you like do a form of meditation or anything?
It's more of, okay, you do uh over time, like I said, you stop being shaky and nervous, but you get this adrenaline rush or pump, the same way some people feel right before a game, if they have a sports game. So uh it's just excitement, I don't think I obviously take a deep breath, but you just got to go straight into it head first. That's just what I do personally.
Yeah, I remember I ended up DJing one gig in Vancouver. That's on the west coast of Canada. And I just remember being so nervous. This was my first gig too. I felt so nervous and just like overwhelmed. But when you actually, that was like before, but when you're actually up there and in the moment, it's a completely different feeling. And you're just able to move the crowd in the direction you want and kind of guide the audience with sound. It's such a beautiful thing. I'm sure you know the feeling yourself.
It is. And then I don't know if this has ever happened to you, but you'd have like a set list, be on a mini notebook or in your head of what you want to sing. But the crowd moves you in their direction as well.
Hmm.
You don't just you end up completely changing your set list and like improvising perhaps on stage or doing songs that, you didn't even have in mind to do that night just because they either requested it or you feel like they need this once they get pumped by a certain song.
Yeah, for sure. And like it's all about reading the crowd. You got to kind of be able to gauge it and like go a little bit off script in order to like flow with them.
Going on script 100% isn't the right way about this. It's been a while since, because we're in lockdown, it's been a while since I performed on stage. I really miss it.
What specifically do you miss about it? Like the feeling of like controlling the room, or is it just like the passion of singing itself?
It's the passion of singing itself because, you know, like I said, I went to university in Beirut for 3 years. I didn't get any breaks there. I didn't get my big break or start over there, believe it or not. And we're talking about Lebanon. Who knew I'd come back to Saudi and I get my opportunities here all compared to what I could be doing abroad or what people are doing abroad. But it's something really big for me and the country. And it just feels great to be able to be a part of that. So I just want to continue being part of like this growing music community here.
What is the how's the support system for artists there? Like are they very supportive with each other or is it more of a competition?
It's fun competition, it's like playful competition, but it's also very supportive, every single person has their own thing or vibe or genre or style, signature style or singing play, like signature singing style, sorry, or playing style, depending on what instrument they play. And we all acknowledge it and really appreciate one another because when I was in Beirut, I didn't know there was a whole underground music scene. I discovered the music scene in September. We're talking just a couple months ago, when the music scene has been going on for over 5 years. I had no clue. So now that it's surfaced to the top, I think we're just all, there's like no hate between us. We're just all really happy to be able to do this finally without being cautious and like hiding, doing underground music gigs or what.
Well, that's good that it's able to be fruitful and like kind of grow more. One thing that I was actually looking at your Instagram and I noticed that you're all about this like self-loving and kind of yeah, basically just like loving yourself and like what are some ways that you express that? How do you express love towards yourself?
Well, one of them is by doing what I love, singing. You know, um, self-expression. You know, in order to love yourself, you need to express and understand yourself. Taking time for yourself, and I think this lockdown has given us a lot of time to have some self-love and self-care. for ourselves, time needed that we need for ourselves to recharge. Um, Knowing to put boundaries is another way I care and love myself, and giving my body and mind what it needs. Let's say if I'm on like a diet or a workout like a month or something, if I'm craving a donut, I don't suppress or deny myself of what I want, you know? You got to be easy on yourself. The same way you would talk to someone you love, you got to talk to yourself that way. The same way we all have like our inner child,
Hmm.
you got to talk to yourself and the way you would talk to a child as well. Sometimes if you make a mistake or break a plate or drop something or mess up, don't scold yourself. That's how I love myself. I talk to myself the same way I would to someone else. So that's just
That's
some.
that's very interesting because many times I find myself going more to like the hard place of like, like why would you do such a thing and like you're better than that. But I feel like at the end of the day, that just doesn't make you feel good. I don't feel like I'm progressing that way either. So I'm really connecting with what you're saying, especially with boundaries. That's something that like it's kind of in the back of the mind, but like boundaries is a huge thing. Yeah.
You have to set boundaries for others and for yourself. You got to set boundaries of people who you allow in your life, what in your life, and who you allow in your life, and what you allow them to know, what you allow them to say to you. You set the limits, and boundaries for yourself. Not just for others. If you make a promise to yourself, stick to it. If you say something to yourself or you have a goal that you want to accomplish, you set a boundary. Okay, from this time to that time I'm going to do this, for example, or I'm not going to engage with people that constantly burst my bubble or give me negative energy or suck out energy from me.
Mm.
You have to be a little more self-aware.
Yeah, that's one thing that probably one of the biggest difficulties as myself as an artist was letting go of all the friends that you have, because like you're trying to pursue this dream and it consumes you. It takes so much energy and it's just really hard to say no when they're asking to hang out. And that's like one of the boundaries that I found was the hardest to get through. Um,
I feel like um I also struggled with that as well. And also the fact a lot of people that I thought were my friends didn't really support this journey, uh they weren't happy for me. They really weren't happy for me. And these are people I've known for like over 6, 7 years.
and I
And
that will show your true friends, right?
yes, and people I just met in the music community maybe a month ago are supporting me and rooting for me more than people I've known for more than 6 years. Because you really see it on their faces when you tell them, hey, you got a performance, you got a gig, you got this. They're like, oh, that's great. And then they never show up, a single one of them. Do you think, did you really not have time to hang out with them though?
Well, it was more I wanted to position myself in such a way that there's a lot of room to grow and to work on my music and my brand. And I feel like I don't want to be mean, but I feel like cutting off certain people is kind of the way to go because that just frees up a lot of time that you can spend on this. And it's definitely difficult, but you got to do what you got to do for your dream. And if they truly love and understand, then like they'll get it.
Definitely. I mean, if they are the kind of people that would be true friends, they would really give you this time to grow and be alongside with you. Perhaps, let's say, like a leaf growing on your um, the plant that you are trying to be. They'll just attach themselves like a leaf, perhaps, or understand. But the ones that you feel like aren't going to be good for your growth, perhaps it was a good idea to cut them off. You know.
And of course, you always have those friends that are like kind of on the sideline cheering you on. They'll be there at the most important events. And those are the friends you gotta kind of hold dear and really enjoy. What that's the other thing I've noticed is now that we're kind of consumed by this passion, I find that when you do spend time with people, I value that so much more
Yeah,
because because I think of it as in I could spend this time working on my brand, working on my art, but instead I chose to be with you, and that just makes it like so much more enjoyable and valuable because your time is worth something.
definitely. I feel like doing this really shows you and teaches you where to put your priorities and who is a priority in your life, and it makes them understand as well, like, hey, you're important, because you can't just give your time to everyone and anyone.
And not only people but priorities over like things like video games. I'm gonna admit I was highly addicted to video games for like the longest time in my it was bad. Oh, I used to like I was in middle school. I used to this is like no joke, woke up at 4 a.m. Okay, and then I got ready for school, so I was done by like 5, and then I played video games for like 2 to 3 hours before school, and then I would come home from school and just like play until bedtime, and then that was my life for that year. It was bad, but like I actually recently just like gave up my Xbox, like trying to cut out like every source of it just to focus on the craft because we only have 24 hours in the day, and I just don't have time for that. And I'm sure a lot of people out there can relate to not just video games but just like Netflix and YouTube, all these different ways that we procrastinate. And I feel like you really have to be like self-conscious and identify what it is that's holding you back, even if it's just like 20 minutes a day. 20 minutes a day, even if it's like on YouTube, over time that makes a big difference. So
It does, but also give yourself time to procrastinate. The same way, in gymming or working out, when you're moving in a straight direction, clean eating, working out consistently, no cheat meals. A lot of people think that cheat meals are bad. You need cheat meals not just for the satisfaction of it, but also to shock your body and mind, to break from that cycle. So it can just take a bit of a break and then be right back on track. So you can lose the weight or get back in shape. The same with your mind. If you're constantly, focusing and working and being productive, I feel like you should give yourself that 20 minutes whenever you feel like you need it, of course within limits so you don't overdo it, but just so your body goes in a bit of shock mode by relaxing, so it can have more creativity and passion towards when you get back to work you know
yeah, one thing that actually reminds me, one thing that I've been kind of struggling with myself is when I get stuck on a project, I see like two different ways to approach it. Either I can take time off from this project, work on something else, or just like take a break. And then maybe when I come back stronger, or to just push through that blockage and somehow find like the inspiration or like the momentum to finish it and kind of work through it. So like
both
I don't
ways, yeah. It just depends on, I guess, how you feel or what the what exactly it is that you're doing or working. Each every single thing is different. You can't really compare. Both ways are perfectly fine. I feel like they're both great.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
So yeah, what are some ways that you've seen some growth in yourself within like the last few years, especially with your career in singing?
You realize, singing. I have been singing since I was around 8 years old. Performing, I mean, I've had a couple in Beirut here and there, but the main singing performances started here in Saudi in around September. So I guess you could say from September to now, um, I really have changed more than I've changed in the past 2 3 years. Believe it or not, in this short amount of time, because it really does break you. Like I said, it really does change you as a person. You grow up a lot faster. I mean, I'm still 22, but the music community around me, um, minimum is 25. From the ones that are performing and stuff. Other We do have performer like singers and artists that are younger than me as well, but we're talking about the ones that perform and go on stage minimum 25, you know and it goes all the way up to 40 or 45, not 50 as well. So it really puts you in this headspace of maturing even more than you are as already. Um, it gets you a little bit more serious, you know, as well, because it is fun and games, but there is a time also to just be serious. And I'm a very giggly person,
Mm.
so I feel like it sort of helped me tone down that giggly, uh, childish side of me. You know, that I'm always giggly and laughing, making jokes. You know, it helps you become a more serious person, but in a very good way. I feel like those are the main things that it taught me, and of course, how to where to put my priorities and how to manage my time management. Oh my god, because sometimes they call you and they're like, hey, can you come tomorrow for a 2 hour performance? You have no guitarist on hand with you to help you out. You don't have a set list. They need a specific genre. You you know, you gotta get straight to learning the lyrics and have a music stand with lyrics as backup because they called you last minute. Or you could have one at like 8 a.m. for the opening of something, or 9 a.m. And like they could have like a lecture or a spokesperson coming in. They'd want you to be the opening for that. And then you'd have another one at night. So it does teach you how to organize yourself big time. It really does.
I bet it leaves no room for procrastination when it's like that. Yeah. Yeah, I that's crazy. Just like getting a call a few hours before even.
That happened once. I once got a call like, hey, can you come in like 3 hours or something? And I was like, I was like, okay. But you see, this is where you're supposed to also set boundaries. Sometimes you have to say no, honestly. You know, sometimes I have said no. Um, Sometimes your mental stability, your health, you know, or your comfort is more important than the money in the gig. Honestly, that's where you learn how to set your boundaries. You know.
And not only that, like you are a brand and you have a certain aesthetic and quality. And if you're asked to go in only a few hours of preparation, you might not be able to deliver that quality.
Definitely, definitely. But that's why I learned to have on demand set lists, which I prepared like on the side. Like I have a copybook of, let's say, all the jazz songs, all the blues songs, all the pop, all the whatever, all the classic songs. So in case whenever I have to go last minute, and extra backing tracks, because sometimes I don't have someone to play guitar for me or piano for me while I'm performing. So I'd have to use backing tracks. So I have all the backing tracks downloaded. So in case there ever was a call that I feel like it could do, I just gotta pack my folders, my music stand, and just go.
Prepare for the unexpected. I like that. So you had said that you started singing when you were 8. Did you know your whole life that you wanted to pursue this?
I mean, I always knew I wanted to sing. You know, that's what I knew in the beginning, at least, that I just wanted to sing. I didn't care where, in the shower, in the kitchen, in bed, at school, in the bathroom, walking, in the car, whatever. I just knew I wanted to sing. But then when I started growing up a bit more and TV was always on, America's Got Talent, X Factor, blah, blah, blah. We always see these shows, Arab's Got Talent, The Voice. That's when I was like, I want to be there, you know, not to win. Okay, it's really hard to win. It's not a bad thing to say you want to win, and it's not a bad thing to also say you know you can't win. You know, it's just the journey and the experience of being there that I want, you know, and the chance. So that's when I knew that I wanted to start getting on stages and stuff. That was where it started. I was around 14 or 13. You were on my YouTube, so you still have some that are really old. Uh,
Beautiful voice though. Oh my gosh, that's incredible. And that was 4 years ago.
Oh, it's such an old video, honestly. Look, I keep them there to remind myself and others your voice will develop and change and grow. And know what? Okay, yes, some people are born with an amazing voice. There are some exceptions, you know, but not everyone starts out at the top. You know, so I always go back to them whenever I'm feeling a little discouraged or down when it comes to my singing. Like, hey, look how I used to sing that. And if I sing it right now, look how I sound, you know. So
100%. Like I still have tracks on my SoundCloud that it was like the first songs that I've made, and I hate them. I absolutely like I cannot like stand them. But that's why I love to keep them up because it shows how far I've come. Because you can scroll down to the bottom and then up back to the top, and it's two completely different people.
times have changed for all of us, I believe, when it comes to how we used to do our music and how we do now. If you're still in the same place, I think you gotta work on yourself.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. How do you prepare your body in order to be in the correct mind space?
Uh, stretching. If I'm at home, well, I'll be doing my makeup and stuff. You just gotta let loose. You can't be tense. As for preparing my body, I don't think there's much you can do except to stretch. Roll your shoulders.
Well, it's stretching, it's eating well because like if you don't eat well, I'm sure as you know, like your brain doesn't function the same. Um, I
Believe it or
found
not, on an empty stomach.
really
As a singer, you can't sing on a full stomach that well. The emptier your stomach is, the better your voice. Okay, yeah, you're gonna be a little woozy on stage if you really haven't eaten for a long time. But the emptier your stomach is, the better, in my opinion, at least you'd sound better, clearer voice.
I guess also like the blood isn't there like working to digest the food. It's like I guess it's still in your brain. I don't know where it is.
What about you? What is your music journey?
Well, I actually started I okay, from the basically the beginning of my life, I never thought I was artistic at all. Like I didn't play any instruments, I didn't draw, I like nothing. Everyone kind of told me I had like an analytic brain and I was always more on like the business side of things, which I kind of was. I ended up going to okay, well, first off, I graduated from high school 1 year early so that I could like get a head start on a business degree. So that would be a 4 year degree, which I did 2 semesters, and then I ended up finding music production, and that's when I dropped the business degree and I just like jumped like full on into music production to pursue this career. Definitely wouldn't be able to do this without my mom. So shout out, mom, you're amazing. Just to go on record, but yeah, and then I've been working at it for about it's been about a year now, so still very early in the process, but I've already gained so much experience from this past year and ready to like keep going. Like this, I'm ready for this to be a long-term game. Like I'm not expecting to see what I define as success for a few years.
So how old are you right now?
I'm 20 currently, yeah.
Okay. You look much older. I thought you were older than me, to be honest.
Oh, really? Oh, well, thank you. But so what is
But
go ahead.
huh? Go ahead.
I was just going to ask, what does success look for you?
What does success, you mean in
Look
general?
like?
What defines success?
Uh I was meaning more like personally, like is there like a point that you're trying to get to? Is there like a certain like overlining goal?
Well, for starters, I want to graduate from university.
Okay.
Um, I'm really behind on university because I graduated from high school and I took around a gap semester and a half, so almost a year off, just to really grow as a person before I take the next stage into step into university, because it's a different phase in life. I did a lot during that gap year. So, and then when I went to university in Beirut, honestly, I flunked the first 2 semesters. I'm not gonna lie here and say I was a straight A student. I never was. I always focused more on me. In my last YouTube video, I think you watched it because you commented on it. I focused on me, who I am, what I like, what I don't like, self development, mental health, etc. I uh, grew and developed my character into who I am today. And yeah, okay, I'm 2 years behind uni, but I wouldn't trade that for the degree because I really have made myself into who I want to be and who I am. But obviously, I do want to graduate. So, first milestone for my personal success would be graduating because all my friends have graduated, all of
Right.
them.
How was that gap year for you? Like did you get a chance to really discover yourself and know things about you that you never knew before?
Definitely. Once you graduate high school and take a gap year, you're now not going to school anymore. In that gap year, there's no more waking up at 7 a.m. You have your time to prepare yourself mentally for the next phase of university. A lot of students, my age, that have now graduated in grade 10 and grade 11, sorry, in grade 12, uh, they were already preparing themselves. Oh, what am I going to study in university? Stressing out, SATs, I don't know what, IGCSEs perhaps, depending on if they were in British system or American system. I was taking it easy. I sat in that 1 year, discovering what I want to do, what my options were. I wanted to travel abroad. I didn't want to stay in Saudi for uni. Uh, I worked on my music. I worked on uh, working out. I played football as well because I also play football, like soccer. Um, I baked a lot. I like baking as a hobby. I also write poetry. So I wrote a book in that year with like poetry and
How
prose
did
and
that
poetry.
go?
It went amazing until when I tried to publish it with a couple of publishers. They were a scam, so they took money for nothing. But thank God I didn't give them the content. But it went good. I watched movies. I spent time with my dad. I just laid back and just took that time to find out who I am, what I like doing, and what I want to do. I took it really easy. I mean, yeah, okay, I would have been a graduate by now, but had I not taken the gap year and had I not failed in the first 2 semesters, but I would have been a person with a degree and no character. I'm not saying people who graduated right now or who didn't take a gap year don't have a character. No, perhaps they do. But I feel like I gained much more by just giving time to myself in this, period.
I feel that, and I think we could all use a break from something. I mean, I just took a few weeks off of social media actually, and it was absolutely amazing. Like before, I was just so confused and didn't know where I wanted to take my brand. I didn't have like no mission or nothing. And then just a few weeks off and just like kind of being with yourself and not having to worry about posting or commenting or any of this, it really gave me time to just think and just to discover what I wanted and where I want to take myself and my brand. So I feel like everyone can really benefit from it. Only if you feel like you need to take a break from whatever it is, whether it's working out or school or anything. I feel like a break from anything is definitely a good thing.
I saw your last post where you wrote a mini paragraph saying that you recently just took a break and now you're back. And I wanted to ask you, how do you do that? Okay, I don't feel like perhaps okay, yeah, I do need a little bit of a break from social media because I don't like that as soon as I'm up, I check my phone. I hate that about myself. I feel we all do this and it may not seem like such a big deal, but I hate that. I'm in bed, the first thing I do, I roll over, I check my phone. Instagram. I don't like this about myself. So I wanted to ask you, how did you just take a break from social media? How?
Well, okay, specifically, it was more tethered toward taking a break off of posting, I should say. I did like minimize my time on social media, but it was more of like because every day I have this thing where I kind of want to post daily because that's the best way to grow, in my opinion. But it came to this point where it was getting almost like a chore, and it's like I wasn't being very creative. So I thought that I would take a few weeks off and kind of gather myself and like kind of see where I want to take it from there. But really having that time was incredible. Like one thing I noticed is you're not getting all the notifications from liked your photo, commented, liked your photo. Like you're not getting that engagement, which means no one's talking to you. You wake up with no notifications because like, yeah, people care about me, but not a lot of people will just like text me randomly. It's usually about the content. So that part felt so amazing because you're not tied to anything. You just wake up and like, yeah, I still check my phone. It's a bad habit, but there's nothing to check. Like, and I absolutely hate scrolling feeds. Like, oh my
I
god.
I I like scrolling through feeds, so that's what I'm struggling with. Like, I could I could sit on my phone on the couch for 4 or 5 hours scrolling, watching videos, the explore feed, YouTube. I want to take a break from that, not posting. Posting I can take a break from. I feel like it's scrolling that I that I need to take a break from.
Yeah, I mean, like the times I do find myself scrolling, it's because I'm really supposed to be doing something important. I'm just procrastinating, and I'm just like, oh, I wonder what's happening over here. It's such a like we've been totally warped by our phones. Like it is literally another body part at this point, right?
It is.
Like
It makes
it's incredible. Like I go to the river on a walk with my dog, and if I don't take my phone, it's like part of you is missing. It's such a weird kind of controlling feeling that I just don't like.
You know what I suggest? A friend of mine did this once. If you really just want to take a proper break, get one of those old phones. I'm sure they still are sold where you live. You can always find one of those phones where all the alphabet, the numbers you gotta press, not a touch screen. You remember those
Like a flip
phones?
phone or like
Yeah,
a
not necessarily.
BlackBerry.
No, no, no. Even older than a BlackBerry. We're talking like a Nokia or something. If you have, um, just a normal phone that people can text you on and call you. No internet phone. Do it. Just put your chip in there. You do it.
That's definitely a commitment for sure.
It doesn't have to be for long. It could be just a week, but it will. I'm sure it will uh, detach you from making your phone feel like a body part. I think we should both do this. Honestly, I think it would be interesting for us to both document what it would be like a week, and I think it would be nice and encouraging since we're both doing it at the same time. So like a week with no, you know.
Should we do a challenge?
I think we should. I think we should. I think this would be interesting.
Okay,
Oh
well
God.
we'll have to yeah, look what we've started. We have to start like some kind of challenge, the no phone challenge or some shit like that.
Yeah, I think we should do this. Oh my God. It's gonna feel like when I was a kid, my parents would take my phone away.
Well, yeah, I mean, you'll definitely have a lot of time on your hands too. So like you kind of have to fill it with something. So I feel like you'll have a lot of free
I
time.
I think we should do this. Like, okay, what I can do is I have an iPod, so I that has like, okay, the iPod does have social media internet, but I can completely delete those applications just to document, the 1 week. And you have your GoPro, so I think we should do this.
No phones. What do you think about like laptops and stuff? Like would you still use your laptop or no?
I think we could limit our usage of laptops only for music.
That's fair.
Just
Yeah.
music. And like if you want to use your phone or something, like by phone I mean for music, you have like Spotify or something, fine. But I think if you're able to disable the applications or uninstall them or something, just to block the notifications and from you entering, you know but for music it's fine. We're talking social media, not like social media like Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. Even music is fine. Even Google search.
That's a good one. You know
Like,
what? I find YouTube probably the sneakiest because
yes.
you go on there and you're like, "Oh, I'm learning."
Have you
I've,
seen You're seeing people build a pool in the middle of, I think, India. It's a very common video. We've all seen people building a pool. It's a very common video.
yeah, you end up watching like top 10 most venomous snakes or some shit like that.
Oh my,
You start off with like a how-to video too. That's where YouTube is like it's scary how much it like drags you in and like keeps you there. Uh
you end up weird as shit. You end up watching, like, why am I watching this?
it's
Who is this?
okay, it's funny because even while you're watching it, that will go through your brain like, why am I watching this? And you'll still do it. Like you're not gonna exit out. It's blows my mind, honestly.
Have you ever gotten stuck in the YouTube cycle where you're watching an how to do something video, and then you come across this guy that just he's also a how to video channel, but he breaks eggs and breaks food. Have you seen that guy? You have
Oh,
to.
hmm.
Uh, how to basic.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. How to basic. Isn't that like I used to watch this guy, Filthy Frank. I think they did a few videos together, but I don't remember.
I don't like Filthy Frank. I don't like Filthy Frank. I don't like Filthy Frank. So cringe.
It's okay. Those days are over. Okay. One thing that I find with like the tutorials that happens to me a lot is like I'll like search something up and they'll be like, oh, if you're gonna watch this, first watch my other video that's like a precursor to that. So then you like go and watch that video, and then they're like, oh, in order to understand this, you got to understand that, and like you just like keep going back just to get to where you want to go.
Oh my god. If it's worth it, I'll do it. But like most likely, I'll just exit the video itself.
Honestly, I find myself getting trapped by those pretty often. At least we're conscious about this stuff though. Like, yeah, it's bad that like we're getting sucked in by social media, but at the same time, we're like,
Okay, fine. Step one is being self-aware and conscious of.
yeah, step one. Step two is doing the no phone, no social media challenge.
I think I really, really, really want to do this. I really think it would be a good idea.
Yeah, I'd be down. I'd be down to more like plan like a week, maybe like a month from now, because I still want to post content, but you can like schedule content with apps. So you can like pre-create all your content and then like it'll post for you during that week.
Time soon, but sometime we should do this. It would really be interesting to see us both go crazy. I'm gonna be itching to grab my phone. The thing is though, I would lock my phone, put it in my pocket. Next thing you know, I'm grabbing it out and I'm back on Instagram. Like,
Honestly, I wouldn't even trust myself. I think I would have to just like give my phone to like a friend or something and be like, hold this for a week.
I was gonna tell you, give it to your mom or something.
Yeah. I think that's one of the only ways I'd be able to do that. Doing pretty good. Well, I just want to say thank you again so much for being on here. This is my first episode recording, so it was a really good experience, and it was nice to meet you.
Thank you for having me on here as well. It was really, really nice to meet you as well, for sure.
Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed the episode. I just want to quickly express something, and that's the fact that it was my first episode recording. It was the first guest that I interviewed, and I was so nervous. Looking back on it, editing it, I didn't like a lot of myself. I didn't like the way I talked, the filler words I used. There was a lot of things that I just did not enjoy about it. But you know what? You got to put it out there anyway, because that's how you grow and develop. I might not be at a place I want to be at right now, but that just leaves so much room for improvement. And the only way to improve is just put yourself out there. And the reason I'm telling you this is because I want to give you guys a challenge. Next time you create a piece of content, next time you make a drawing, finish a beat, whatever it is, just do not judge yourself and put it out there for the world to see, because people will find value in it. People can find value from anywhere, between a wall to a blade of grass. People will find value in everything. And people want to see what you have to offer. So my challenge is go out there and show the world what you have to offer. Be yourself and just do not judge yourself. I'll see you next Sunday in the next episode.